Let's talk about the catalytic converter situations that we have going on here, man. Live from the news desk. Man, can we get James Brown? I want James. Do you have a James Brown? Hi. Too hot for the hot tub.
We could, yeah, I could see what I can round up.
Hi.
For sure.
Yeah. So, who knew, man? You know, you've heard of air conditioning, like copper and stuff, you know, being removed off of these huge commercial AC units, even some residential.
It's
units
interesting
as well.
that you mentioned that, and I want to come back to that at the end of this segment.
It's the same. It's the same situation, but now it's you may need to put a padlock on your catalytic converter, man.
Okay, so for those of you that this is where I appeal to the layman in our audience. So for those of you that first of all,
you have good practice because you talk to me all the time. So there you go.
It's the opposite. So I have to sometimes I translate for Jay. So for those of you that are new to the program, thank you so much. Welcome. Right? If you have not yet found us on YouTube, go over to youtube.com/Parts Counter Gurus.
Parts Counter Gurus. That's it.
With an S. And hit the subscribe button. That means a great deal to us. If you ring the bell, you will be notified when any new content gets released. Yep. And so Jay has a lot more automotive mechanical experience than I do. Catalytic converters are, I would say probably in the 80s, right? It was their sort of
late 70s, and 80s, yes.
But when did the mandate took effect in the 80s, right?
It was in the 80s. It was in the early OBD timeline, yes.
And so the purpose of a catalytic converter, basically, just to keep this simple, is it scrubs your exhaust. It scrubs the exhaust coming out of the engine to clean it, to make it more environmentally friendly.
It's your car's washing machine. It's your emission washing machine.
I remember the old... you could always tell when there was a problem in that system, whether it was a bad oxygen sensor or whatever, because you know it smelled like your car farted, man. I mean...
Well, not only that, though, I mean, but it would start knocking. You would get some knock going on because of the back pressure on the engine, and a lot of weird things would go on.
So it's part of your exhaust system, okay? And if you any car basically that has been manufactured since the mid 80s has been required by law to have those on them here in the United States, and so it's got a lot of like precious metal. There's a lot of magic going on in that Catco to make that that scrubbing of your exhaust what it is. So there's some expensive metals in there, right?
Yeah, which happen to be the catalyst to make this work, and that's why they're so important inside the catalytic converter. Basically, these noble alloys, which are very precious alloys, are known for their resistance against corrosion, acidic issues going on.
Noble alloys? You mean like Sir Sean Connery, Sir Roger Moore?
Absolutely, man.
Oh no, wait,
Absolutely.
Sorry, that's a whole different. Okay. I've been watching the Bond series on box set, man. I can't help it.
Oh man, wow!
I'm halfway through Thunderball last night.
I need to watch some Bond. But yeah, it's basically they trigger chemical reaction without being affected themselves, and they aid in that process to reduce the emissions coming out of the tailpipe. So they basically scrub the emissions from that point back, you know, and that works with, you know, in order for all that to work. And to kind of help that be more efficient as well, you've got all these other sensors in place, like your O2 sensors, and all these other sensors that the OBD2 system is monitoring. And we've talked about OBD. You guys know what it is.
So there's before and after the catalytic converter, there's sensors in your exhaust, and they measure different, like a lot of it's oxygen, but they measure different amounts of particulates in that exhaust to make sure that it's that it's up to not up to code. It's emissions friendly. It's up to the standard, right?
Yeah, it measures the amount of NOx, I think, coming out of the back end of the pipe, and that's
so people are ripping these things off. So what details do you have on how that's happening and why and on what?
Yeah, well, you know, the uptick on that is because of, I personally feel it's exactly what happened back in 08. If you remember, back in 08, we had a lot of people were ripping AC units off of the copper.
Not just theft of like metal from cars, but like new home construction.
Home construction. I mean, going in and just like ripping these, not just taking the whole unit, just ripping the copper out and moving on, which basically it's ruined at that point. So it has to be replaced. Yeah. But we're in a time right now where people are pretty desperate. With the pandemic, where people have lost their jobs. Yep. And so there's a lot of this theft going on. And obviously, there's vehicles out there that are more susceptible to that happening because of ground clearance, how it may be mounted, and those sorts of things. And I think we may have a website that we can put up on our website, as mentioned on the podcast, a link that will tell you which cars are more susceptible and who should keep their eye on it. But people are just basically going in and they're cutting the catalytic converter completely out. This little saw, cut the pipes, boom, you're out, and they go cash that in at a scrapyard. And I had pulled up, let's see, here's what some of these metals are worth right now. So exotic catalytic converters, like exotic car catalytic converters, foreign cars, you know, like say your BMWs, your Mini Coopers, your FJ, you know, applications like that tend to have higher amounts of the catalytic converters are more effective and they're a lot better in my opinion.
And it's easy to get under my FJ too.
And exactly. Right. Oh, hey everybody, Keith doesn't have an FJ. You don't want his converter. Right. Anyway, what scrapyards are getting, I found this right now, man. They're getting anywhere between $500 and $800 for a catalytic converter. That's a scrapyard.
So I have two thoughts on this. I actually have, two. We'll keep it to two. Okay. Okay. So first of all, also from the 80s, do you remember the whole protected by Viper, please step away from the vehicle?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the alarms. Yeah, the alarm system, which you don't see anymore.
You see that coming back now. Well, it was noise pollution, but I see that coming back now. Please step away from the automobile. You have 5 seconds, right? Like, or some sort of, you know, right?
Yeah, some of them had like shock features on them, didn't they? Where it could shock you, like a low voltage shock.
Yeah, whatever, man. I see an uptick if theft of car parts goes up, people are going to, the sale of security systems will also probably go up. The other thing that I mentioned in the beginning, I wanted to come back to was what typically happens when you start to have theft during difficult economic times, and a lot of it's around precious metals, is there will be regulation that's imposed where the salvage yards will have to require, hey, show me a copy of your driver's license, or I need to see a copy of your, mechanic. Like, I need a mechanic's ID. I need something that says that you are certified and work in an industry that you should be doing this as part of your day job in removing these things, right? And I the problem with that is, and I ran into this personally, I had a water heater at here at the house a few years back, and it was a real high energy efficient model. Like, it used almost no power, and it had, I think it was copper, but it had coils just miles and miles. I mean, not literally miles, but maybe a mile. I mean, it was a lot of coils wrapped around this thing.
In weight, it was worth a lot.
Oh man, that sucker is heavy. And so I had it was a really good one, and I had a guy come out, and there was something wrong with it because it had a lot of electronics on it and stuff. And the guy came out and serviced it, And he goes, hey, man, he goes, I just replaced this whole thing, and there's all this, again, I think it was copper. And he's like, if you, like, I can take this and haul it off right now, but I'm going to tell you right now, like, if you just open up that, like, he told me how to open it up and pull out the, metals, and it'll take you probably 10 minutes. You can take that down the road here to the salvage yard, and that guy will give you like $100 for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, that's,
Yep.
yeah. And so I did it, and I showed up at the salvage yard, and the guy goes, let me see your HVAC license.
Yeah.
And I went, I'm a homeowner. This is my item.
Doesn't matter.
I own this. It's mine. I busted it up, and I'm bringing you the parts. And he went, nah, can't.
Yeah.
Can't pay you for it. I mean,
because
you can leave it here. Yeah.
They are legally bound to ask for that identification, and the reason why is because the thefts were so high back then. I remember that. And if you were not in the field of repair, then you weren't going to get anything for it because you were an assumed thief.
So you're telling
basically.
me that I can't work on my own stuff then and get reimbursed for So you just cut. See, that's the problem in laws like this, and I understand why.
I didn't think about that.
Honest people tend to always end up getting the short end of the stick, to quote my uncle. Like
like a 15% interest rate because people can't keep their hands out of my wallet. Yeah.
Yeah. So
bank
it's
fraud.
like right. It's like I'm the guy that does actually know and enjoys working on my own stuff and like to do it.
And you may have the odd catalytic converter to remove and replace, and you may discover that, hey, there's an abundance of rhodium in it or palladium in it, and I can go down and get some money.
Well, if
and
you
here's
say
why,
vibranium, I'm making a Captain America shield with it and hanging it on the back door.
Well, let me bring into context why I wanted to bring those alloys up, or those precious metals, if you will. There are three that are in a catalytic converter as part that are catalysts, and they're so important to that system. It's palladium and rhodium. What was the other one? I forget. Palladium and rhodium are the two skyrocketed ones. But here, palladium is worth about $500 an ounce 5 years ago. But it's about $2,800 an ounce right now. Rhodium, about 5 years ago, was $640. But it's up to $21,900 an ounce. That's more than gold, man.
Yeah, I think if in a pinch you could also power your DeLorean, the time circuit, with this stuff. So just saying there.
Absolutely, man.
All right, so y'all put your hide your trackers on those catalytic converters because it's coming to a neighborhood near you. I would bet you.
Absolutely. Just be careful of that, guys. Just keep your eye on it. And the price I pulled up some prices. This is what it'll cost you to replace one if it does get ripped off.
Let's have it.
All right. So for my Mini Cooper, the dealer cost on that thing is $1,266 just for the cat itself.
And how long does it take to install it?
That's a 5-hour job on that one. So you think about let's go on the light side, $100 an hour labor charge. That's $500 just to get the thing installed. Now, here's the other side of that. These guys are not going in with a set of tools to remove it. They're coming in with a saw and they're hacking it off. So you're going to have damage from that as well.
Yeah.
So you might as well consider replacing the entire exhaust system. That's what's going to what we call in the industry, like if you did an exhaust job for someone, you get them a price for catalytic converter back to the back of the car. That was a price. But if it was cat forward included, that's an entire exhaust system. That's from the exhaust manifold down that gets replaced. Included in all that, you've got sensors that are involved. So it can be that if to replace the entire exhaust system on my car alone is darn near close to $4,500. That's a significant amount of money. So that's why we wanted to bring this up and what's going on for you guys to really pay attention when you park your vehicle. Maybe some tips on that, Keith, would be to park it in in a situation which might make it difficult for somebody to get a jack up underneath it or even get up underneath it, period.
I just park on top of smaller cars. That's my,
Yes, that's it, man.
Monster truck style, right? Like,
absolutely,
good luck getting that
man.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm thinking Bigfoot doesn't have a catalytic converter on it, man. But anyway, I don't think that's regulated for those guys. But anyway, so there you have it, man.